let me explain to you how this works. You see, the corporations finance Team America. And then Team America goes out, and the corporations sit there in their corporation buildings, and see that they're all corporation-y, and they make money.
Hi guys, welcome back. My name's Hunter, and this is Zach.
And this is our best guess.
All right, so we all just saw the clip.
Corporations. What else needs to be said?
Exactly. You know what? They're very corporate-y. I'll give you that. Before we dive too far into this, excuse the frog in my throat. Today, we are going to be drinking Santa Fe Brewing's Nut Brown Ale. And I know this is really hard to do for you guys, so there we go. Nut Brown Ale. We haven't tried this one. I haven't had this in quite a few years, actually, so hopefully this...
Most of these I haven't tried, so...
Hopefully this is going to be a good one. If you can drink at home with us, we appreciate it. If you can't, all the same. Cheers. All right, Zach. Corporations. Corporate-y corporations.
Corporate-y corporations.
Let's talk about the widespread corporate influence of America.
And so that joke that
Right.
we just watched, it's one of my favorite jokes of all time, just because I've heard people talk about, corporations or like, the big business, big this, like
The evil corporate pigs
Yes.
and all their greedy mountains
Right.
of gold and
Exactly.
whatnot.
And
Suppressing the common man.
And right now, with all the stimulus bills and like businesses being closed down, it's actually a little bit more relevant.
It is a little more. I don't even know about relevant, but more apparent for sure. I'm sure that to some degree that there's always been the behind the scenes of okay, it's a big business, they have more influence obviously than
I think so as well. And like usually with that, where I see them having a lot of influence is things like a big business, the big business, whatever they talk about, whatever example you have, they'll start to advocate for different regulations that for safety or for whatever
that affect them directly.
Affect them directly, but that they can keep up with.
This early? Oh God! It's Bakira. It's Bakira. She'll be back, definitely within this one, almost assuredly. Yeah, no, I agree. They tend to lobby or
Lobbying is the word, right?
yeah, lobby for policies that affect them more directly, and
And their competition more directly.
right, and on occasion it does affect, maybe not even on occasion, a lot of the time it does affect small businesses as well.
Right, because
and that's really where I think the stem of that evil, corporation versus the small man comes from.
right.
Is that competition with the general store versus Walmart, like that's hard to do. What do you have to beat their prices, which is damn near
It's
impossible.
very hard, especially in the level of like supply that they're buying.
Absolutely.
They can get it for just so cheap. They can get it for the actual like price of what it's being manufactured as.
Or damn near. And they can get more of it, more diversification, more, more, and that's the problem.
Just brand recognition as well.
And I hate to say this, but local businesses can't build a repertoire anymore. And it's not necessarily their fault. It's that Walmart already has that, oh, well, if I need it, I can go to Walmart and I'll probably find some version of it that I can use. And that sucks more than anything for local business.
Even like local business, it used to be, it was more like local, like you would know that it was your neighbor or whatever like doing it. But for small business, the small local business for like let's say like breweries, they have to be heavily branded. Like they have to try to brand themselves and establish themselves as,
and unfortunately compete within themselves to even get to the level of
right.
of will Walmart sell our brand of beer, and then you have to do a marketing scheme and an expansion scheme and all kinds of stuff, and that's got to be hard, especially for some people who open up local breweries and they just want to brew beer, they want to enjoy the atmosphere, create a business like that.
Yeah.
And I think in the realm of politics, especially local politics, that plays a big that has a big sway, on the way that a city or a town or even a state works.
Right.
Because you look at what happened to our state, where they raised the sin tax, speaking specifically about breweries, and corporations have no problem, exchanging goods like that.
Right.
One way or another,
Because
we're
it's a
gonna
very
sell
small
it.
percentage of what they sell.
Absolutely, yeah. Their profit margins are considerably larger. So when they buy stock of a local beer, they can pay for it all at once and have backlogs for months if they wanted to. Whereas a local business, well, you raise the sin tax, you got to raise the price, you got to raise the
Right.
It just gets worse and worse as those things go on.
Definitely. Because especially with raising that price and everything, the margins of profit that you get to make while still keeping the customer coming to you is very little.
Right? There's not a lot of wiggle room.
I think again I brought up the stimulus bill, and this whole pandemic has been an example of sort of big business versus small business, and in a way, because no matter what, the big business, like Walmart or other brands that can afford it, they would have gone through this just fine. Like, they
probably.
have the money.
Even if they had to shut down a few stores here or there, we all know the joke that Walmart, well, it's not really a joke. I guess it more of a the idea that Walmart kills small towns.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think they would have easily come away with this.
Even if they sold a couple hundred stores, they still have hundreds.
It's dirt off their shoulder, whatever.
Yeah.
But we will talk about the stimulus bill in a future video, just so you're aware. So we're not going to dive too deep into it at the moment. I don't think that's necessary. But
I don't think it's.
But a significant amount of money through the government has gone into essential stores, and effectively that has meant larger corporations, and especially things like Walmart, Target, grocery stores. Of that nature. And some grocery stores were completely overlooked in that, specifically local ones, which I think is blatantly disrespecting or disregarding the nature of those stores. Yeah, they're local, but they still provide for an area, obviously. So
right.
They had a customer base.
Exactly. Yeah, they were surviving. They were making a living for themselves and for their community. And I think it's sad because a lot of people, especially, I don't like making things a left or right thing, but especially more on the left, they tend to be anti-big business. They tend to be more for the little guy or whatever. But
I feel that's true. But before you go on, keep a hold of that thought. I do want to point out that a lot of the right as well have this Big Brother conspiracy thing that sort of goes hand in hand when you look at this from a pandemic standpoint, where it's like they're pursuing governmental interests through big business,
right?
And that can work kind of in tandem with each other, where you're like, okay, well, I don't like corporations and you don't like the government. Now they're working together.
Together, right? And that's exactly it. So I'll see people on the left talk about big business, but then when it comes to the government saying, "Oh, we're going to shut down all these small businesses," there's no support on the left end of them. They're all saying like, "Yeah, keep them shut down." Like,
there have been kind of a large dichotomy of people where they're like, okay, you need to support your local business if they're open, and if they're not allowed to be open, just hands off, don't touch them. Like that's a bad idea. And I think that's a little strange, because yeah, you're allowing the government to shut down for precautionary reasons. I don't particularly think I'm qualified to dissect the reasons that some things would and wouldn't be open fully. And I can understand to a point. Obviously, I'm not going to know what the ultimate decision was, but I feel like a lot more harsh measures were taken than necessary on businesses, specifically like restaurants.
Yeah. Not like amusement parks. It wasn't like, oh no, all the amusement parks shut down.
Not Disneyland. How could you do that? But no, there's definitely, I think, a larger margin for acceptance than we've allowed. Even allowing restaurants to continue operating at 25% or whatever, 10%, even if that could even be profitable.
Right.
No, I think there was a very strict, very quick decision made, and they've sort of stuck with their guns because they don't want to be wrong. And I think that has a lot to do with businesses changing their policies. For example, we talked about Best Buy once, last time.
Yeah, we talked about Best Buy and their hours.
Yeah. Like they change their policies and all of a sudden it does become difficult to get groceries and that causes more panic because you're in line for 2 hours and there's shelves that are empty and there are limited available places to go now instead of...
Well, I think it's actually like it shows more a deeper issue, like a deeper, especially right versus left divide of again, I don't like that the left likes to bash big business, but then at the same time gives them the government leverage, basically. Like they're allowed to use the government to then make restrictions that hurt small business. And it's mostly because a lot of people don't understand where, business starts. Because yes, there's big business, but it starts from somewhere.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The evolution of business, if you will, something like the ladder of business moves up from small establishments, small local businesses. There's no such thing. Well, I'm sure there is now when you found a new company from another company, but that's a separate issue. The origins of corporations, corporatizing in general, come from small businesses that expanded to a point where they needed to corporatize in order to...
Corporatize is like, it's in the word it's cooperation, kind of. So like, let's say that you are a very, very small, grocery store owner, or, in more historic terms, like
like Walmart.
The local store. Yeah. Well, not necessarily Walmart, but yeah, you're a Walmart, but like old time. Like let's say you're the
Walmart.
Yeah, the Walmart, the singular, just mom and pop store.
Or McDonald's. McDonald's had the same.
Or McDonald's, yeah, just a small burger joint making burgers that people like, and soon you realize, okay, well, we're buying meat from all these different places. Let's just find one meat seller or one butcher, one farmer who makes the meat wherever you get your meat from, and let's just make a deal with them because we're selling so much. We're very profitable in this. Let's make a deal with one person and say, look, if you just give us this at a discounted rate, we promise to stick with you, and then the more you sell to us, the more our business will grow, the more we get to pay you in the future because we'll be ordering more. And that's guaranteed money versus...
Right. Yeah, I was just about to say, and if you think it a bit from the rancher's perspective, that's guaranteed money. It doesn't matter how bad a year is. That's 80% of your stock is sold. It's already gone.
You don't got to bid it. You don't got to worry about like being undercut by a different business just because another business finds someone else that sells their meat cheaper, and you're just like, okay, well, shit, now I have all this meat, like I can't get rid of any of it. Now I have to sell it even cheaper, or it's just all going to go to waste.
Yep. But that's how it begins, and then corporation core, CORP, which is a group of people, is the way that corporations sort of work. So they start at a core once you corporatize, and they branch out significantly into different fields, and most of it is actually franchising and expansionism. So the reason that I think a lot of people have an issue with, or another reason rather, is that they do expand. They expand very rapidly once they reach that stage because they have the money to do so as quickly as possible. She was waiting at the door. Told you she'd be back.
But you just opened the door on her own.
Yeah, that was magic. But yeah, they expand so quickly and they have such a vast influence. If you look at things like that are more regional, like InNOut. InNOut is a good example, where if they really wanted to, they could continue to expand quite rapidly and probably be very, very successful, even though they have, on the other coast, Shake Shack, competing over that land. And eventually they'll meet in the middle and we'll have some sort of weird, like, burger war. But that's sort of my point.
I've never had a Shake Shack.
I don't know if I ever have. Yeah, Bags.
I love
I know
InNOut.
you're here.
InNOut is sweet.
I wasn't. I'm gonna get a lot of hate. I'm about to have a lot of enemies all of a sudden, but I wasn't all that impressed. Like
I'm on the right, and I like InNOut. So if that's any character,
I don't think they
argument,
politically lean towards InNOut.
I think it lines up. I think it lines up politically.
So I don't mind fast food burgers all that much, but InNOut was a little excessive for me. I mean, it tasted
excessive. Good. It has 3 menu items. You go up, you say 1, 2, or 3.
Right, but it's single, which is thick, and then double, which is thick, and then triple, which is thick, and extra cheese, and that's just like, it's a lot, man. Like, I don't know. Their fries were really good. I enjoyed their fries.
The little like thin cut, like.
But on the terms of the average person interacting with corporations, I feel that when you work for one, you definitely feel insignificant. And I've worked for a few now, and it's just, you know that no matter how loud you can get your voice in that ladder, you will probably never go to the top.
Right, and
or to a place where somebody would hear you to change things.
And that's totally right, unless you really want to like brand yourself. If you want to brand yourself as like a worker for that company or that corporation,
live, breathe, and think.
Yeah, exactly. Like you become like in the burger war. That's your nation. That's what you
Shake
fight
Shack
for.
or In-N-Out, and
exactly.
we go to war.
But I don't think that should be the end goal. I think the end goal should be your individual, sort of company that you are making. So some people can sign up, like they don't want to have the responsibility of dealing with all the business on their own. It's kind of that.
So in your mind, it's the plant that grows. The tallest one grows and dies, and the next ones shoot up from the stem.
Right, and
that makes sense.
And you could.
There's a business model that's
right as a business model, right? Because eventually, like at our job, the machines get old. And to totally re-get all the new models of the machines, it would be like pretty much impossible. It'd be a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So eventually, there's going to be another company that has the money, that has the capital to start the same business, but with more efficient.
Maybe even from the same people.
Maybe even from the same, because what they could do is they can say, hey, we have the stuff, we just need the workers. So there's this old dying business. We'll treat you guys better than they treat you. And that's the goal, is you want to get treated the best, consensually, because that's...
I mean, I feel like if it was going to be unconsensual, I would still want to be treated the best. Maybe especially then.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if they were to just snatch me in the middle of the night and say, you now work at Bumco. I'd be like, okay, but I hope this is going well.
Do I at least get dental?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I don't. If I'm black bagged, I definitely want to be treated the best I can be in that situation.
Yeah, definitely. We want to be. Yeah, so that's kind of the competition you have, is even with like your own business. Again, starting your own business is hard. So some people are willing to make that. I don't need to sort of raise myself up in the business game. I can just be a worker for this other corporation. And
I genuinely feel like I would be like that. I'm not super into the idea of starting my own business. That sounds like a venture that would end badly for me, but I'm very unlucky, so I try to stay away from things like that.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, because what you're allowed to do is like you can work, you can make, because you do generate value for their company for working for them, because they can't generate that value without workers unless they have robots, but like that's not going to be for a while. Yeah,
Jesus.
That's
not in my lifetime.
That's a conversation for a different time.
Absolutely.
Just fuck robots. Like, we're racist to robots around here.
Is it a race? It's another time.
It's another time. But yeah, so like for now, we do need workers.
We do need workers.
You have a value as a worker.
And I think a lot of, I'm sorry, I might derail this just a little, but I think a lot of corporations do forget that their workers are the lifeblood. They tend to stray away. They cheapen out as much as they can just to make people happy enough. Not happy enough to continue coming back.
Right.
And I think that, yeah, when you start your own business, you have that motivation to, I want my workers to be happy. And that slowly degrades as you become separated. As it becomes bigger and
bigger, like you start to see. And I think there are some corporations that do it well. So like Chick-fil-A, They're very nice in terms of the competition of all the fast food.
Oh, absolutely.
They're the nicest,
Yeah,
but they also expect the most. So it's like.
But that seems to me like a fair trade. I
think
like
it's
hard.
a fair trade too, because I'm willing to work harder, and that means I'm going to get treated the best.
She's cranky today.
I know.
She's about to yell.
You better not, Bagheera.
Don't.
Just lay
Don't.
down. Okay.
So, yeah, no, I feel like that's a fair trade-off. And I know a lot of people, and don't take offense to this, don't like working hard, and that's fine. I get that. Being a mediocre worker is not an issue. You don't have to work yourself to death. You don't have to care about your job. As long as you do it, that's the minimum requirement. And I get that. To me, that's fine. As long as you're not dragging the team down or getting in people's way and whatnot. Yeah, be a mediocre worker. There's no issue with that. But I like to work hard. So if I'm treated well, I will work harder. And that's just my mentality. It always has been. I don't remember ever taking on that mentality. It's just always been ingrained into me.
Another like aspect of that is so what happens when you work harder for your company? They are able to, let's say you're a mediocre worker versus you're a hard worker. The company hires, let's separate it, two parallel universes. One's a mediocre, one's a hard worker. In the hardworking universe, they're going to be making stuff more efficiently because for the amount that they're paying you, you're adding more value to their company than if you were a mediocre worker and not adding as much value. And the more value you add to their company, the more that they're able to maybe sort of undercut their competition, where they can start selling their products cheaper than the competition, make overall more money because they're able to guarantee the sale versus the competition has to go and have a lot of backlog because they just can't find people to buy their product.
And hopefully, if the company is at least somewhat self-aware, that leads into a rewards or recognition program.
Yeah.
That leads into you progressing. Now, there is plenty of argument for it's near impossible to progress in a large company after a certain point because the pyramid becomes very narrow very quickly before it widens out again with the administrative.
That there's an argument for that, but another like angle of it that people forget to kind of take into account is the products. Because everything's a company, so everything that's selling you something, you're either the supplier, like you're selling your stuff, and then the corporation itself is considered a customer for your stuff. But on an individual level, we're still customers, and we're buying the things that these companies produce. So if they're able to build up to a point to where they can it gets big enough, especially if it gets big enough to where your job becomes less valuable because of how, not automated, but like how efficient it becomes to just like your one single step. So, if you can get multiple people to just complete one little tiny part of the step and then finish it. And
I feel like that's the actual end goal of corporations. We haven't really reached there yet,
right?
But I feel like that is the actual end goal.
That is the actual end goal.
One person do one thing,
yes,
and hire as many people to do those tasks
for as cheap as possible, right?
Exactly, but
which
is it's again that is also a supply and demand curve. So there will be a supply of jobs, but that demand would be very low because they wouldn't be paying well, and there wouldn't be a lot of people who would be interested in that unless they were desperate. So, do I think we're going to get to the end of the corporate goal line? No, I don't think we'll ever get there. We'll get damn close, considering our economy.
We're already pretty close. Like, especially
Amazon is about as close as you can physically get to it, which is scary. But I really, truly don't think that we would ever reach that goal line.
Right.
Where
I think Amazon is the peak of it, and Amazon's a perfect example because
look at how unhappy most people are working there. They freaking hate it. But people take those jobs because they're desperate.
Forget about the unhappiness of it, because I would go work for Amazon like right now, and because it's a job, like you're gonna be unhappy. It sucks.
You mean if you didn't have your current job, or you would prefer it?
I wouldn't mind like transferring over to Amazon.
I don't know, man. They pay less money than we get by a long shot. Yeah, by a lot.
What's our base like?
15-30.
15. I think their base is 15. Is it 13?
I think it's 12, 15.
I don't think that's true. We'll put it right here. We'll figure out their base pay.
Why do I have to do this all the time? I am gonna block out our base pay though. That's none of y'all's business.
Okay, you don't have to block out my base pay, but you can block out yours.
Fine, I won't.
But okay, so assuming they paid us the same amount as what we get paid at our job, I wouldn't mind working there.
I wouldn't transfer over.
But like also, besides that, because no matter what, like people are going to be unhappy at jobs unless they really are passionate about what they're doing.
That is a fact, and people tend to ignore that.
Yeah, the products that Amazon is giving you is on out competing Walmart. So in terms of
especially now. Oh,
yes, especially
Jesus.
now. So like the range of products you're allowed to get at a much lower price, you're basically almost
including food, by the way.
Including food, yeah. Because they're so corporatized, they're saving money every step of the way. You're able to buy it for almost the production value of it. Very close.
It's
You're very close to it,
and it allows other places to. Not allows, but it encourages other companies to mass produce even faster because they can sell it even faster through Amazon.
Yes.
Which is I never really thought a middleman company would be as one of our biggest, if not the biggest company in the United States, but they did it so well that it's kind of amazing to me because a middleman company being a company with no brick and mortar storefront where you can physically interact with items. They are just a transport company.
Yeah, there's no Amazon store. That'd be sweet.
What would you? I mean,
I would go there instead of Walmart.
It would be a weird version of a bazaar. Like it would be just too many items that make no sense. Like a flea market, a bazaar. I would like.
That would be so sweet. Like that's futurist.
Can you imagine how cyclical we'd have to get Amazon brick and mortar stores? We'd all be Amazon by that point. They're like, okay, well now we just own the buildings of everywhere.
If Amazon became the government, like, I don't think I'd be that mad. I
don't like Jeff Bezos. I mean, he might be an upgrade from some of our politicians, but still, that. I don't. He would be God King of the world.
So like you'd get like your Amazon basics,
and then you'd get a tattoo of Jeff Bezos right here.
No, you'd get your barcode with the little smiley, the little
smiley.
Yeah, because you're happy.
Right.
Amazon-topia.
This is going very dystopian very quickly. We need to reel it back.
We're talking about utopian.
We need to reel into the real world.
Well, it's still the real world because like it's so close, and the issue that I have is, if let's say you're a small company and you're trying to make like whatever, and then Amazon sees that you're making that, and then they start producing that and sell it lower than what you can sell it for.
Honestly, I don't think they would do that. They'd say, hey, we'll buy that from you, but at half price. And you'd be like, well, that's all my stock, guaranteed. Go for it.
They might do that, but I think they literally just start producing themselves.
I'm pretty sure that's actually what they do, because they don't have a lot of production companies on their own. They use, and if you look at them, they have thousands and thousands of vendors that they just continuously buy from. Actually, I learned a cool thing about Amazon. You can buy different versions of the same product so long as they're within the same like spec margins. So let's say you want to buy like a toaster, some white toaster, even made by something like Kenmore, right? You want to buy a Kenmore toaster. However, there are several producers of that toaster, and each of these vendors has different spec standards that are within a very broad range that are acceptable for that toaster. And all of those places that they buy from go into what is effectively one bin. So you could get a really high quality manufactured Kenmore toaster, or you could get a really low quality for the spec Kenmore toaster, and they don't differentiate. They literally say this is the same item no matter who makes it out of these vendors. If they order this, sell them something from this bin. And I think that's a really crazy way to do business, because it's not based on quality at all. There's no what do they call that? The physical checking of
quality control.
No, that when a customer wants to physically feel a product.
Oh yeah, like
I can't remember what it's called. Like
yeah, like just checking it out, like tactileness, like
yeah,
just
like the
being able to
tactile
touch it.
check
Yeah.
and whatnot. Yeah, there's none of that because I bet you if you put the worst and the best next to each other
Mhm.
and you physically pick them up, you could feel the difference.
So honestly, I think like corporations like Amazon are closer in terms of like a Marxist utopia than
Oh, I agree fully with
than a
that.
government would ever be because
We don't think about it because we have to still
it's
use
corporations.
capitalism.
It's a corporation.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we have to use capitalism to interact with them, but they are as close as you really would get to
Right.
to a
Because
Marxist
eventually, yeah.
supermarket.
Because eventually, it would literally just be like, okay, well, you work for Amazon, you get your Amazon basics, like you get your Amazon apartment, and then your Amazon bed, your Amazon toaster, and then you come and work for us. And then at a certain point, all of those basics that you have will just be so cheap that you wouldn't really. You would have to work for them, or like if they just bought up all the jobs, like if there's no more jobs, at a certain point, like they can't really sell things anymore.
Right, except to maybe foreign countries, which doesn't always work so well when you only have one manufacturer,
Mm.
which is equivalent to a world power at that point. Which
I
is
don't know.
how most Marxism communism fails, by the way, is that they only have one entity that interacts with the entire world, and that entity eventually grabs enough power through those interactions that it collapses the entire economy. Because
Right.
they don't care about people below them, they just want to make money off the world.
Right.
That and many other reasons, but that is a huge part of their actual infrastructural failure.
And if they're bound to fail like that, like if it's bound to be either you work for Amazon or you just like don't work, eventually, yeah, there's gonna be incentive to either keep people working or to just make Amazontopia, like literally just a place where you can go and like they just take part in the Amazon shit that you get made, and like I don't know, I don't know where
that
it
wouldn't
goes,
last very
but like
long. No, that neither situation lasts very long.
no,
Humans always live in flux, and we need to really take a look at accepting that. And even in to reel it back just a little bit, in current corporate America, things are still always in flux. People, for example, I think it was, what was it, Taco Bell and Pizza Hut separated recently. That caused a lot of deficit in business.
that they got rid of the fucking enchilito.
I don't eat at Taco Bell very much. I still don't even know what that is.
Fuck Taco Bell.
Right, well, that's another thing is they got rid of a menu item, just one.
No, they got rid of a couple. They got rid of Mexican pizzas. They got rid of everything except for like the very basic shit, like a taco, the bean burrito, the fucking tostada.
I don't think their entire menu is consistent of a taco, a bean burrito, and a tostada.
What else do they have, babe? She's not listening.
No.
I don't know what
I
else they
wouldn't
have.
listen to us.
What else
I
do
don't know
they
why
have?
you guys do.
I don't.
I have no idea. I haven't been to Taco Bell in months.
They don't have shit. You get those three things.
My point is not about Taco Bell. It's about things change, and that affects business directly, and as obvious by his complete ire in this situation. And he's not the only person who's thought
I'm
that.
not gonna support Taco Bell anymore.
Like, that's great and all.
Boycott Taco Bell.
Okay, well, we'll put that on another time. We'll talk about fast food, but truly, I think that a lot of people overestimate and underestimate the way that corporations work.
Mhm.
They either don't understand it, or they understand it to. They don't understand it enough, but just enough to make over exaggerations.
So, what do you think about, okay, like me trying to boycott Taco Bell? That's me having power as a consumer. So, do you think there is consumer power? Or
I
do you
think boycotts are long and away going to be less effective. Just like demonstrations have proven to be less effective
That's true.
for either way.
Yeah.
It's no longer a
Because, yeah, it's politics now. So, like, politics, it doesn't matter if you have a demonstration or it doesn't matter if you have an opinion. There's going to be people that have that niche opinion
Right.
that they just go and they
you
fill
can't
it.
go and change who's in charge of Taco Bell.
No, I can't. I can just not support there, but then there's still gonna be some fat fuck like, oh well, their Dorito Loco Taco.
But you also have to think who else owns Taco Bell. Who's the corporation in front of that? They probably own KFC. It's just an example, but. And if you change from Taco Bell to KFC, they literally don't care. They are just appealing to as wide of an audience as humanly possible. Right. And they'll probably do something stupid like bring back the enchilada every once in a while. Enchilada, whatever it is.
That's extortion.
That's what the McRib is. It's the definition of extortion. People hype it up. It tastes terrible. Most people don't like it.
I've never had a McRib.
It's not good. If you were imagining something that was even remotely good, it's actually the worst thing that they sell. And even if that's just my opinion, there's not enough people to justify bringing it back. It's just an advertising scheme. Why? Because I'm sitting here talking about the McRib. We'll never eat one again.
But then there's going to be people listening to this who are like, oh, fuck, the McRib. Like, exactly. I want one right now.
Now we're talking about it.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go buy one.
It's a terrible, terrible marketing scheme that literally extorts their customers. And, yeah, we buy into it. Hand and fist.
This is something I hate about regulation with corporation is regulation sometimes lowers their quality of the products that they make. And the reason is because we really have this idea of like safety, of like, oh, it needs to be healthier, oh, it needs to be less likely to kill you. But there's some things that you do, like there's no matter how you chop it, if you're smoking a cigarette, you're gonna die faster than if you were to not smoke cigarettes. But like
right, but we dance around that fact by escalating it.
By saying, oh no, it's got filters. Oh right. No, well no, I only do like 1 pack every week. Like, oh no, I only do this. Like, no, you're gonna die. You're gonna die whether you smoke cigarettes or not. So like, if you're gonna smoke a cigarette, you might as well smoke one that's like good, like or
Agreed.
Whatever. Like, okay. With
now there have been a few cases where they kill you extreme, like old clove cigarettes used to kill people within like 4 to 5 years of starting to smoke them because they were just...
Were they good?
I have no idea. They were discontinued long ago. But they used to kill people very, very quickly and have all kinds of issues. And that kind of stuff I sympathize with. Yeah, of course we should have better regulations for...
No,
or at least
like,
warnings.
No. Yes,
you know what? Warnings okay. and a full documentation about what this could do to you, the proven side effects or whatever.
It's like the calories. Like, they mandated you have to put the calorie count on whatever you're selling.
Oh, yeah,
That's fine. Like, that's fine.
Right.
But don't tell me that I can't... Like, a lot of fast food places, you can't use beef tallow or lard to deep fry anything anymore. It all has to be vegetable oil or, like, some sort of, like, a plant product oil because it's healthy. It's healthier, but it's not.
Right,
like, it's still deep fried, like, shit that you're putting into your body. And, like...
Yeah, that is silly. I agree. I mean, I don't know. It's really just all what makes people happy enough to shut up about it at the time. I really, truly believe that.
But now I'm not going to shut up until I have tasty burgers and the enchilada back.
I mean, to be fair, you don't really shut up a lot.
Exactly, and I'm not gonna until I have Amazon Topia.
Guys, give him what he wants.
Yeah,
I've never heard him be quiet for more than 5 minutes,
or I'll never shut up.
I don't think it's humanly possible in the first place. You could prove me wrong. Go vote for lard burgers.
Vote for lard burgers, and I'll shut up.
So what are some personal interactions you've had with corporations? What are your personal feelings when you work with and or shop at corporations? Do you choose the local? Do you try to? Does it even occur to you anymore? Because I have to admit, there are a lot of times where it doesn't even occur to me.
Not anymore. Like, now, there's not really any choices now. Like, at all. Like,
that's fair.
There's no bookstores. Like, I can't choose Borders or Barnes & Noble. It's like...
It's Barnes & Noble or the internet.
It's Barnes & Noble or the internet.
And I still didn't like Barnes & Noble.
I can't choose Hastings.
Right. And I know that was regional. I don't know where it started, but...
Oh, yeah.
Hastings was wonderful, honestly. I don't even know how that went out of business.
I think it was just the fact that, like, places like Amazon can sell books and movies and everything, like, super cheap, so there's no, like... There's no need to go to a physical store for it. But like I would continue supporting Hastings, but just me alone, like.
I shopped at
It's
Hastings
not
almost
enough.
3 times a year, always for birthday presents, and I always found something. Like 100% of the time. I never went there and was like, well, I guess I'm not buying anything.
Yeah, because they had a bunch of cool stuff. They had
Oh,
like
yeah.
toys,
And
like
t-shirts.
books,
I went there for
t-shirts.
t-shirts when I was younger.
Um, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have.
What about working for one? How's working for one? Because we
Working
do
for
work for a
one-
corporation.
Yeah, we work for a corporation, but even still, like I've worked for Sonic, I've worked for Chick-fil-A, and like those two places, Chick-fil-A treats you nice. They like you do gotta be on your toes a little bit more, but like you get paid more. There's no like Sonic, you get minimum wage, and then at Chick-fil-A you still get like more. You get more money. So like I made like 8 something, like 8.75 at Sonic, and then at Chick-fil-A I made like almost $10. It was like nine something, like 9
70, 80.
70s, 80, yeah, something like that. I did have to pass a math test to get hired at Chick-fil-A. They in the
You had
application.
to pass a math test?
Yes, they give you a math test that's like it's 100 questions, I think. And I only got through 80, but like and it also makes it to where like you really can't finish it in the amount of time that it gives you, but it kind of goes off of how many you've answered and how many of them are correct. And I had to pass that to get hired.
What a wild... Why? What for?
Because like okay, so
Was
here,
it like
yeah,
change
no,
exchange?
Well, yeah, so okay, when I worked at Sonic, there was this girl that was awful. I hated her. She was horrible. Like I did not like her, but she was short. So like as a car hop, you're given a wallet, and like it has money. It has a lot of money. So if you want a lot of money without any real risk, just go mug a car hop. But
Don't do that, folks.
don't do that.
Please.
I'm not endorsing that, but that is true. We get a little wallet. And actually I think they actually started putting less money in the wallet because that was happening so much. But so you have a little wallet and originally you're given 20 or $30, so 20 in cash and then however much in coins, and then whenever you pay cash, like that's what you use for the change, and then when you clock in to take an order, because you have to use your clock in card to take an order, it adds that amount onto your like amount that you have under your name. So at the end of the night, they take the money that you've collected. So first they separate the $30 that you had originally, and then the rest of it you have to put into the amount that's clocked in your name, because that's how much you collected from customers, and then whatever's left over is just yours. That's your tip. And every night this girl would be short. She'd be short money, like, because if you okay, let's say you give just
Just because she couldn't do change.
just because
in
she
her head?
didn't do change. So like it'd probably be like she was giving an extra $1 because she didn't understand that like if you
have cents on the dollar,
if you have
goes
cents
down
on
to-
right, so if it's like $7.25 and they give you a 10, it's $2.75, not $3.75. That's a lot of money throughout the night, and she'd be like $30 short every night. So, no, I would hate that. And like for Sonic, that's all their car hops, like literally all of them. So for like Chick-fil-A, that never happened. That never happened.
So do you think it's actually beneficial for corporations to start requiring... Actually, maybe that's an interesting concept. If more corporations started requiring their minimum wage workers to take tests like that, I'm not saying like 100-question math test, but to have a higher standard of education, would that force society, like, sort of at gunpoint, to start educating themselves a little more?
A little bit, yeah, and I think it's actually a lot better to incentivize it that way instead of a sort of mandatory education, because if you have a mandatory education, you're getting
Well, I
this
mean,
broad...
that is a mandatory.
Well, it is mandatory, but I mean like public education in the sense of like public schools.
Right.
But if you have a job that is specifically incentivized in having competent workers, they might have their own education system per company for specific jobs.
See, that starts to get into the scary part of corporatocracy, where you're talking companies taking over schools, providing housing, things that are just, that's scary to me. I don't like that idea
But
at
then,
all.
how do you feel about government-supplied housing?
We all got to live somewhere.
Exactly. You gotta live somewhere. Why not the McHouses?
Because that sounds ridiculous, one, and I can just imagine waking up to the neon M outside of my window every goddamn morning.
Do you know how colorful your world would be? Like,
It'd be yellow all the time.
no,
and I
it'd
would
be
hate
yellow.
it.
They'd have like red.
You'd have like red
And,
countertops and yellow
yes.
lights. God,
Yeah.
what a miserable
Oh my gosh!
existence.
Do you remember like '90s Taco Bells? That's pure aesthetic right there. Just
Yeah,
white with the purple and the blue, like just accents basically.
Accents.
That's some nice stuff.
But I still, aesthetics aside, I think that's a
Taco townhouses.
Never mind, I'm down. All
Yeah,
right,
you
know what?
get to choose. You get the.
I'm down for taco townhouses. That sounds wonderful. That's like
the-
some sort of like college frat party town. We're going to the taco townhouses.
The Chick-fil, what's like a C? The Chick-fil cantinas, like
Condos.
condos,
Cantinas are bars.
whatever. Shut up. Chick-fil condos. Yeah, that's
Nah,
fantastic.
You're glad you're not the marketing director for that one. So let's go on a down note here. What do we think about corporations? I think that yeah, we do give a lot of credence to corporations. It does affect local economies.
Mm.
It does affect local governments.
Mm.
And through that maybe even directly to the federal government, obviously. I don't think there's a real question about that.
Mm.
Are they as scary as they ought to be? No. I mean, or are they that scary? No, I don't think they're that scary. I think that it's the natural evolution of most business is to reach that level
Right.
and beyond.
And I think the scary part of it comes in with like their leverage with business, like with that stimulus bill where Walmart gets to stay open and collect their essential money versus small business gets shut down and like literally if they reopen and try to sell, they'll get shot by the government. Like that's
God, it's always the violent.
well, that it has.
It's not
it has
shot.
to be
They'd
that,
be arrested.
They'd be arrested.
It's much
Sorry.
less violent.
You would have a gun pointed at you and then put into a metal cage. It's okay. So it's not getting shot, but it's a little bit worse if you ask me. Okay, we get that.
Why do you do this?
So you get that, and then Walmart, they don't get shot. They don't get put into a cage because they're.
I mean, as far as I know, they get a lot of warnings. Here, at least, there's been quite a few warnings, but I've never heard of a compliance issue other than just the warnings they had. Most of it was just having people in the store without a mask, which they started enforcing. So I don't.
Right, but then for the small businesses, they don't get warnings. Like they get shut down.
Oh yeah.
Like
definitely.
they don't get any money. They
Absolutely.
get literally shut down. So like, that's where I think the scary part comes in is that leverage with the government and corporation.
Yeah, they have a lot of favoritism.
Yes, it's very favoritism. Yeah, because then that allows the government to choose, which usually is kind of self-interested because a lot of politicians have stake
Well, the
or
whole
stock,
purpose of-
literal stock in companies.
There is that too.
Which is kind of like literally insider trading that they then like
it's
invest using their votes, which is horrible.
right, and we don't have any value placed on those votes at all.
Right,
There's-
exactly, and
there's-
it's literally just them making money off of stock, and then again that lets business lower quality because then they're literally guaranteed
they can't
money.
fail. Yeah,
They can't fail, right?
banks,
So-
airports,
Yes,
rather,
yeah.
airliners.
Yes.
Like
And that's where I think the scary part comes in is when there's no alternative in terms of the little guy or like someone else like trying to be like, hey, I care about you guys. Like I care deeply about taco. I care deeply about enchiladas. I'm making my own taco chain. Please come support me. Because it's like, oh no, you can't because you're working out of a taco stand right now, and that's not up to your health our health code. Or you don't have your business license for us to tax you properly, so we're just gonna arrest you.
yeah, I agree. And while as Walmart can have literal bugs crawling in and out of their produce and just slap on the wrist.
Exactly. It's just like, oh, that's kind of gross. Can you put that in the back? Like,
Yeah, we'll deal with that later.
just missed
I've
him.
had a few frogs in my throat today. Excuse me. So, final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Before we get to the beer review.
The beer.
Yeah.
Final thoughts is,
support your local business.
Yep.
I feel like that should be obvious by now. Yeah, a lot of people say it, and a lot of them are hippies, and I get that. But it is true. You do need to support your local economy.
I do support small gun places more than I support like Cabela's.
That's good, actually. That's weird.
That's like an area that I do make a difference in my head with that.
That's fair. I guess I mostly support local business through restaurants. I don't have any grocery stores anywhere near me. Well, yeah, no, anywhere that I could even access.
And I did go to small restaurants before this whole thing.
Well, now they don't even allow them open.
Yeah, exactly. So?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the truth is that corporations they do have influence on the world. Do they run the whole world? That's a little debatable to me, but they do have influence, and influence means some sort of power. So, as much as you can, take that into account when you make your decisions. That's the only thing I would say. Don't.
So when we say take into account, that's your power as an individual customer. Like, you can actually make a difference if you care about these things.
If you choose to, even if you just choose to divert from Walmart to Target or Walmart to every once in a while, and you still go to Walmart regularly. Whatever. It is within your power to make a difference in those things. You just have to be conscious about that thought. All right,
Beer?
So I gotta say, I'm not really impressed with this.
Yeah, it's not very strong. Well, it doesn't taste like much.
No. So the last time I had this was years ago, and it was very, very, and I hate to use the word to describe the thing, nutty. It was very like a dark, nutty, acorny taste to it, pecan, and this is very bland, honestly. It's very bland, very...
Oh, well, it does say it contains no actual nuts. Do you know if...
I don't know if they changed it. Is it slightly sweet, nutty flavor from the malts we use? Yeah, so it doesn't taste very malty either.
It's not very... It tastes very bland. Yeah, that was a...
Yeah, it's I would say light and not malty, which is weird because that should be effectively what it isn't. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it is an ale, and I get that, so it's going to be a little lighter than normal. But, yeah, I usually find nut browns to be overwhelming with flavor, and this one is not. But, alright guys, that's all the time we got for now. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe below. Let us know if you have any topics that you want to talk about. We appreciate all of your feedback. Thank you so much. Remember to check back every Friday at 2 p.m. We haven't been mentioning this, but our schedule is actually every Friday, 2 p.m. The video goes up. And so make sure to check us out.
Yeah,
I think we do have an Instagram. Don't forget about that. Sock Drawer Entertainment.
Sock Drawer Entertainment, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've only missed like 1 week.
Yeah, we missed Christmas. That was
but it was Christmas
because of the holidays.
Leave us alone.
Yeah, leave us alone. No, don't leave us alone. No, bother us everywhere.
Yeah.
All right.
No, is that a business in your pants, or are you just happy to see me?
Oh God, here we go. It's gonna grow larger. It's gonna take over the world. Bye, guys.